What's good, Aces? Welcome back to the channel. So shout out to the Girls Are Fighting. Um, they highlighted Tamar Braxton, who gave an apology to her fans for her behavior on the new season of The Braxton. In the recent controversy, she said that everybody's family is effed up. Let me just you know what? If Tamar, if she I always say if she channel her energy into the studio, but she could be like a stand-up comedian. I promise you. If she wasn't always crashing out, because a lot of people take their, like the Wayans family, Eddie Murphy, just a lot of stand-ups. Period. Right? They say that it's on the other side of the coin is the tragedy and trauma that they, went through and overcame. I really feel like she could do stand-up, but anyway. So during her set, she said that everybody's family is effed up. I have actually met some families that were functional. They are few and far between. Mine doesn't, mine is not included. However, there are some that do not, physically fight each other and cuss each other out and, just are always at each other's throats. Like I said, they are few and far between, but I have met a couple unicorns. There's a couple unicorn families out there. But let you guys hear what she has to say in her apology to her fans. Oh, Tamar. I have a soft spot for Tamar.
On and just address the elephant in the room. Y'all, the Braxtons is coming back, and I did not mean to do none of that. I'm sorry. It's coming back. Love Tracy. And bitch, that's family. Everybody's family fucked up. Yes, it is, bitch. And I know y'all mad at me because my album didn't come out last week. But I had told my team I can't really say nothing without giving you nothing. So how I'm gonna tell you something that I don't know the answer to? You feel what I'm saying? So I just said I'm just gonna let the people be surprised one day. Like, remember how the rapture was supposed to come up a couple days ago? Y'all forget the Holy Ghost forgive me. We got this new thing called classes. Oh, go ahead on and just address the elephant in the room. Y'all the Braxtons.
Okay, so I don't like Twitter. It'll just flip to the other video really quickly. It didn't used to do that. I know Elon changed some things to try to get people to stay on his platform longer. But anyway, so shout out to the Girls Are Fighting. I got that clip from Twitter. And she said that, everybody's family is effed up. And, now that her album is, I'm just like, girl, I really need Tamar to just go and see the lady. just take those burdens and give them to the Lord, lay them down. And then after that, right, in addition to go ahead and lay down and go see the lady. I will say this. I'm glad that she is touring, or, she's on stage, right? So she's using her talents and her gifts. She's, making money because she has Logan and herself to provide for. I just feel like their whole family is, I think there's just a lot more underneath the surface that and it doesn't need to be for public consumption, but I feel like Tamar acts the way that she does because there has been so many secrets and so much swept under the rug. You know what I mean? Like, one of my favorite quotes from Martin Luther King is, "A riot is the language of the unheard." Like, after you have tried so many different ways for people to, hear you and to address your unmet needs, then you just are like, okay, this person isn't trying to hear what I'm trying to say, so now I'm about to wreck shop. Like, I feel like that's where Tamar is. Like, she is at a point in her life where she feels like she has tried everything, so she's kind of acting out. Whether that's, her own arrested development, and she hasn't developed any type of, conflict resolution skills. But I look at Toni, and for the past, however many seasons they were on Braxton Family Values, and now the Braxtons, she was always very, very calm, very collected, very demure, very cutesy. And it wasn't until this clip where Tamar, was accusing her of not having her back, and there was cease and desist on the table. I'm like, what is going on? Um, that's what I mean. Like, if you try to sweep things under the rug, unhealed trauma and unresolved issues, those things are going to bubble up to the surface one way or the other. Ashley has come out and spoken out. Tamar's acting out, falling out, right? Tooth knocked out. Talk about she woke up in a pool of blood. I'm like, if y'all don't go on somebody's couch, somebody who is certified. No shade to Miss Iyanla, right? Iyanla Van Zant tried to help him, and bless her. Seriously, right? But I'm talking about somebody who has went to school for this. Somebody who has some real credentials behind their name. Nothing, like I said, not trying to shade, Miss Iyanla or anybody else that they have seen, but Tamar getting smart with, Iyanla, and, her mom screaming over her to get her to calm down. Like, those things are not helpful, right? And Miss E is she in her like 70s or 80s or something? Like, I get that their generation um weren't given not only not the tools but the space. They weren't allowed to, you know, say what needed to be said. Um to be honest, I feel like my generation, and maybe, Tamar and Tony's generation, were the first generations in this country to really even truly be born with all of our freedoms. And now this administration is trying to, snatch those back. The ones that were so hard, fought for. Department of the Civil Rights Department just, they froze them. So there's no new civil rights lawsuits being heard in the courts, and the legislation is just a mess. So I said all that to say I have a soft spot for Tamar, because the more that we find out about what's going on with their family, and the secrets are slowly coming out, like I said, with Ashley, and I made videos about that if you guys want to go check those out. But Ashley Braxton, Michael, their brother, he's the only boy, his daughter said that her own father sent her a cease and desist. So maybe he's the one who sent the ones that's on the table when Toni and Tamar get into it. I don't know, because Trina said that she didn't, and everyone's speculating that Gabe, may he rest in peace, but he had issues with being inappropriate, cheating on Trina, and they had brought up in a past episode about him saying that he was, cyber texting or sexting someone inappropriately. And I'm thinking, I was like everybody else when this first came out, I'm thinking it was just, some stranger, not their underage niece. You know what I mean? Like, stuff like that is just so just disgusting. And what makes it worse, if it is true, if it was Gabe, right? The fact that, Trina and him divorced, but then she remarried him, it's like, what was her thought process? Like, so Ashley said that, first she felt supported by whoever the aunt is. I'm not saying it's Trina. I'm just saying that's what the streets is saying, allegedly. But whoever it was, right? Why would Michael send his own daughter a cease and desist? Like, why not get her into therapy? Why try to silence her? Why would whoever the aunt is, because she didn't specify to be Trina, say that she was being there to support her, but then viewed her as a threat, and essentially, try to blame her for the whatever problems that she had with her husband. That's not on any child. People kill me with that whole, call little black girls fast and things like that. There is no speed in which a child can move that will keep her, one, safe from somebody who is looking at her like that, but that's not on the child. That's on that disgusting adult. And it's so many things. It's so much that we see that, comes out. Like, why is Toni allowing herself to be provoked to a point where she's going to put her hands on Tamar? Now, I get it, right? Tamar is a lot. Like I said, I have a soft spot for her, but she's a lot. But I'm thinking, Toni, baby, you're in your 50s. Leave the room. You know what I'm saying? Like, you, out of everybody, should know that you have a legacy to protect. Like, you are the most successful on the show. You're the oldest as well. And listen, not to put that on her, because I'm the eldest daughter too, and it's a whole lot. Being the eldest black daughter of any family, that's why me and my grandmother got along so well, because we were both the eldest daughters, and it's just a burden that is just a lot. But you also learn that if somebody is trying to bait you or push you like that, you walk away, you leave the room, especially in I wish I would be fighting a grown, especially my sister, physical fights in my 50s. Father help us. I just, I can't. And I just, like, I don't understand what child, like, Toni knows what what she's done for the family, who she is. I don't know why that's a soft spot there, or a sore spot. There must be, I don't know, either, I don't want to say some truth to it, but Toni must have some kind of insecurity about it, because if somebody says something about you or to you that is not true, like if someone were to say, your hair is blonde or whatever the case may be, you just look at them like, okay, you know what I mean? Like, stuff people say that doesn't faze you. It doesn't faze you. You don't get upset about it. Like Tamar saying to Toni, you never did anything for me, and you didn't put us on, and this, that, and the other. Toni should have been like, okay, you know what I mean? Like, okay, Tamar, whatever delusional, you know what I'm saying? Because the rest of the sisters, Tawanda, Trina, Tracy, rest in peace, but they know, everybody at home knows that we wouldn't really know the Braxtons, at least not on a first name basis, right? If it were not for Toni. And we might not even know Toni if Anita Baker wasn't pregnant and turned down the song that Babyface had written for her on the Boomerang soundtrack. Love Should Have Brought You Home last night. It just so happens that Anita was like, no, I can't do it. I'm pregnant. Give it to the new girl, Toni. And that was her breakout song. So I said all that to say, I feel like Tamar really feels unheard. She probably has for most of her life. I want her to heal past the trauma that she experienced, because she's been open about that, the essay that she experienced. And I'm going to just go out on a limb and say that, the people that she told, whether it was whoever it was, didn't have her back and didn't listen and believe her and take the steps necessary to resolve that issue. So now it's just like an unhealed, festering wound that we see play out all throughout social media and, on public television. And now we have a whole new generation with Ashley, right? Her niece, trying to come on Tamar's podcast. And once again, they're being silenced by cease and desist. It's like, what in the generational trauma is going on? Like, why would y'all put all of this, Big Kev, Tracy's, husband, her widower, trying to fight his son, little Kev. Like, I mean, what is everybody squaring up about? Seriously. If y'all don't go and let it out on some heavy bags in the gym, get that frustration out in a gym somewhere, in a boxing ring. If you really that big and bad, you need to put your hands on somebody. Because I used to, this is true. I used to train at a boxing gym, and I never wanted to spar with people because I had just gotten my braces off. And I was like, you see this? This is like thousands of dollars of dental work, and everybody knocking my teeth out. However, I could appreciate that if I was having a bad day, I could take those frustrations out on the heavy bag, on the speed bag, you know, even shadow work. You know what I mean? Doing the calisthenics and running and jump rope, those things will not only build your body up, they're great stress relievers. And by the time, you leave the gym, you'll be too tired to, you know what I mean, have all this unnecessary drama and beef. You'd be wanting to shower and go to bed. Sometimes I would stop at Popeyes, just keeping it a buck. But I mean, don't judge me. I went to the gym. No, but and I miss my little six pack I used to have. We used to work it out, okay? But anyway, I need to get back in the boxing gym. It was a great stress reliever, and I want the Braxtons to find their nearest boxing gym or whatever. It doesn't even have to be boxing, right? It can be Pilates, yoga, it can be whatever. Running, you know what I mean? Just pick some kind of physical activity that will, one, stimulate your body, build up your muscles, get your cardiovascular system all built up. It's great for brain activity, all that good stuff, right? Two, help them, both they're a family of singers, right? It helps your singing ability. Shout out to the Knowles family, right? Matthew Knowles had Beyonce, Kelly, and Latoya and Latavia running in heels, singing at 15 years old. Shout out to the Knowles boot camp. But anyway, um, it will have them thinking twice about putting their hands on each other. Because at the end of the day, you're blood. And family's all you got. Yeah, a lot of families are dysfunctional and effed up, but it's still yours and it's still your family. You know what I really want them to fight it out at? If it's that serious, court. Because thinking about this cease and desist that Michael is sending, what gives him the right to send a cease and desist to his own daughter, his flesh and blood? And if that's who sent it to Tamar, because like I said, Trina said that she didn't. Toni got upset. I don't think that she did either. So if it's from Michael, what are you hiding? Like, one of the things I love about our judicial system, it's not a lot, to be honest, but aside from the quote unquote presumption of innocence, which is okay, because that you have to address people's biases and things like that, is the fact that there's the discovery process, right? Like Claudia Jordan would say, if I'm lying about XYZ, first of all, she's like, I don't lie, I have a bad memory. Shout out to Claudia. But she's like, sue me. If you think I'm lying, let's dig deep and let's go through that discovery process and let's get the truth out there, right? Whether it's defamation, whether it's whatever it is. Like Michael Braxton, if he's out here sending all these cease and desist to the women in his family, which is a punk move in my opinion. If you're the only boy, you should have been stepped up as a protector. You should have been out here windmilling. But anywho, you out here sending, silencing people and sending cease and desist. Like, let these people speak their truth, so they're not out here windmilling and putting their hands on each other. Take it to court. Take it to court. It doesn't even need to be, we don't even need to know the details of it, right? Let the courts fight it out. Honestly, they have the money, they have the resources. I'm sure they can get some good lawyers, because these, the cease and desist letter, that would piss me off more than anything. Like, who are you to tell me not to say something? Am I talking to you? Ashley was telling her truth about what happened to her. What are you trying to cease? What are you trying to desist? What is that about? I wish she would have read that letter, because what do you have to hide? Why are you trying to silence the members of your family? Why don't you let them say what they need to say? You know what I mean? And get the truth out. That's what I want. Like, I want them to go to court and to really hash it out in front of a judge so that they don't have to continue to fight each other. But yeah, that would piss me off more than anything. Tamar, baby girl, go ahead and find you a good counselor and a good gym, because you don't try, different men, and going out with Punky Neva wasn't working, and you apologizing every 6 months over your behavior. It's like, it's just time to go ahead, go see the lady. And now I don't walk my dog twice. I don't walk my dogs twice already tonight. He barking at that dog down the street. So so bad. But yeah, baby girl, go see the lady, and possibly a good lawyer, right? Because one thing that people are not going to do in my big adult age, it's one thing, when we're kids and people say, stay in a child's place, and, don't say this, that, and the other. I feel like that's where a lot of people get stuck at. Because if you let that child say what they need to say, and then you as the adult take some type of responsibility and follow up with the legal system, the penal system, let that child see that there are consequences to this person's actions, then that gives them that resolve that they're looking for. But baby girl, if your parents failed you in that area and it happens too often, then it's up to you. It was not your fault. It wasn't your fault that it happened, but it is your responsibility now as an adult to heal. So the good news is you can do that, right? You have the name, the resources, the time, right? Because it's important for you to take that time to heal so that you don't continue to repeat these patterns. Because at this point, it's a pattern of behavior. I had watched Kempire earlier today. He said that Tamar told him to go to said, oh my God. Like, you are lashing out at all these YouTubers, and it's like, YouTubers are not celebrities. Some are, right? Some are. Shout out to the YouTubers who are making 7-8 figures plus. But a lot of YouTubers have a Gmail account and a dream. Okay. So telling Kempire that, I mean, he just said, bless you. He said that he had pattern recognition, and that's real. Like, every so often, every month or year, or months, I should say, every 6 months to about a year or so, something happens, and Tamar does some dramatic event, right? An event. Shout out to um, Tisha from Love and Marriage Huntsville, a dramatic event. And then whatever, she gets into it with whoever picked the flavor of the month. And then she comes back and she apologizes to everybody. And it's like, and then she says, like, oh, y'all won. I'm not going to be on social media. I'm not going to do this, that, and the other. And then she does it. It's just, at what point do you say, you know what, this isn't working for me? And before I hit 50, right? Because the average American lives to be what, like 76? So we're past middle age. We're going to address the root of why we feel like we need to keep apologizing to people, to the public, right? We're going to get some resolution. Do you want a resolution? Whoop whoop, yes, right? We're gonna get some resolve that, for whatever reason, the people in my childhood who were responsible for me and didn't have, the backbone, the resources, the whatever. They were dealing with their own unresolved trauma, whatever it is, right? Forgive them, love them for who they are, accept the fact they didn't have the capacity or the skill, right? They just may not have known how to. And now we can move forward with our life and heal emotionally. And it's not going to be just like a one time thing, but it's going to be an ongoing process. And that's okay. That's what life is, right? Life is an ongoing evolution, mountains, valleys, hills, highs, lows. But get to a point where we do not have to continuously, every whatever period of time, come on, you know, stage or live or Instagram or whatever public platform and apologize to people for another outpouring of unhealed, unresolved trauma and issues. So I really hope that, one day, soon, the Braxton sisters can come together, and it would be really lovely if they could all, find like a really good family therapist. I don't think that that'll happen, but even if they don't together, they find someone separately, um, because from what we're seeing from the outside looking in, there are so many secrets and unresolved issues and unhealed trauma in that family, y'all. It is ridiculous. And it's spilling out and it's pouring out to the point where Toni Michelle Braxton herself done jumped up. And I'm like, I didn't think that that would happen. Now Tamar's gotten into it with almost every person. She got into it, with Miss E. She got into it with Tracy all the time. May she rest in peace. You know, Trina, Tawanda. But I thought her and Toni were closer than that. And I didn't think that Toni would allow herself to get to that point. So, yeah, it needs to happen. I hope so. I hope it happens soon. But anyway, you guys, let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Please be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I will talk with you in the next one. Take care, Aces. Bye.